Sungrow is the largest inverter manufacturer in the world. What makes your company unique?
Well, our company is unique because we supply both central and string inverters on a global basis. In addition, the company also supplies energy storage inverters for battery storage systems.
So, inverter tariffs are a big topic of discussion right now between the U.S. and China. How are they affecting your company?
Well, right now we are absorbing the tariff that's added to inverters. There's a threat of the tariff going to 25%, but we have a contingency plan in place to avert that should it happen.
All right, so the worst case scenario is 25% and the best case scenario is the tariff get lifted.
Would be zero.
But what's your contingency plan?
Our contingency plan is we have a facility in India to produce both our string inverters and our central inverters for all the UL products to go in the U.S. So presently we are manufacturing all of our UL string inverters there, and should we go to 25% on the tariff, we're going to transfer the central inverters manufacturing to the India plant.
All right, and the Indian plant, because the inverters would be made in India, would not be subject to the tariffs at all?
That's correct. I mean, we already have the infrastructure, the test infrastructure for central inverters in India, so we'll just be using that for the UL products coming to the United States.
All right, is that a fairly easy shift for your company to make?
It's a fairly simple shift. I mean, it's costly in terms of finding sources of supply in India, and there are a few VAT taxes to absorb. But it certainly beats the 25% tariff being thrown on top of the inverter.
All right. Another business that you mentioned you're in is storage, and you've been making storage for almost 20 years now. So how has that business evolved?
Yeah, well, certainly that business has evolved over the years based on battery prices. Sungrow's been doing storage projects around the world since 2000, so we're really one of the pioneers of that. The U.S. market's really starting to pick up into the storage space because it's now feasible in terms of battery pricing. So Sungrow has central inverters for storage applications, as well as string PCS products, which are basically smaller string inverters. So when you have a large duration project, fault currents for central inverters are fairly deadly. Should you get a fault current, it's a deadly event. With a string inverter, you can break the battery up into smaller, safer blocks. And so we're the first inverter manufacturer to offer a string PCS.
That's an amazing technology to consider. So and batteries, you expect them to continue to get cheaper? That seems to be the consensus.
That's the forecast, yes. That's the forecast.
And that presumably would make batteries much more common across the board in the U.S. and through the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the battery market now for storage applications basically comes out of Korea, South Korea. And they have a very large domestic market for batteries.
Sure.
And plus the pricing here is less than there, so they're not really incentivized to sell batteries to the U.S. market. So you sort of have the two major suppliers in Korea kind of holding the whole market back.
So that's the bottleneck of the market.
So that's one of the bottlenecks. That's correct.
All right. So the next few years, the even cheaper batteries to come with more storage applications.
Correct. And we're looking at Chinese sources to be qualified for battery applications in the U.S. to drive the cost down and the project integration up.